Hey y'all, today I'm going to be working on this Duochrome Pebble Manicure with an opal accent finger. If you're interested in seeing how I created this, stay tuned. Okay, so to start with, I have started with a single coat of black polish, and actually this polish that I started to work with was matte because I wanted to get the juxtaposition of the matte and the duochrome together. But then I remembered that matte polish is dry a little too fast for the nail art that I had in mind. So I am switching over to Sally Hansen. This is the Extreme Wear, in the shade is Blackout. And I am also using this is I Love Nail Polish, and the shade is Cyrene. This is one of the duochromes that just came out this past spring. And I'm also going to be using, this is Essie Good as Gold. Alright, so what you want to do is start out by loosening the caps on all of your bottles. And the reason for that is because we're going to need to move a little bit quickly once we get this actually started. So once you have all of those ready, zoom out just a little bit. Alright, so once we have all of that ready, we can go ahead and start, and we're going to do this one nail at a time. I'm going to start with a single coat of your black polish. You can use any black polish as long as it's not a quick dry. And while that's still wet, I want to take Cyrene. You can use just about any duochrome or multichrome polish for this, but wipe off half the brush, and then into the wet polish, just start adding some dots. And then around that, now I'm going to take my gold polish and do the same thing into some of the spaces. Okay, I'm actually going to create an accent nail on my middle finger, so I'm going to skip that one. Okay, so again with the black polish, I'm going to come in and you want to apply a fairly generous coat. Just so that there is some wetness for these droplets to kind of melt into. Alright, so I'm going to give those a little bit of time to set up a little bit, and then I'm going to top coat them, and then we will work on the accent finger. And we are back. So one thing that I forgot to mention before I cut out last time was that if you like the look of the 3D texture that comes from putting the pebbles into the wet polish, you can keep that texture by just not top coating it. In this instance, I wanted to move a little bit quickly and have these dry, so I put a fast dry top coat on it to seal it up. But like I said, if you wanted to keep that texture, you could just don't top coat it. So now we're going to move on to the accent ring or accent nail here. And to do that, what I'm actually going to do is set some stones into that as I move one-handed. So I have these. Let me just get one of them. How about? These are some opal or oval shaped and kind of opal colored studs that I received for review from the Born Pretty store. These are item number 12422, and this is size number 5. These studs are, they call them studs, I don't know why they call them studs, but anyway, the studs are 4 millimeters by 6 millimeters. And I will have links to that down in the description, as well as a discount code for purchases from Born Pretty store. But what I like about these is that they are, they kind of mimic the colors that you find in Cyrene. They go from kind of a magenta color into a teal to a sort of emerald green. And I just really like the shift, and I thought it would match well with that ultra chrome polish that we've got in the other nails. So what I'm going to do now is set that stone into the center of my accent nail. So I'm going back in again with the Extreme Wear in Blackout. And again, while the polish is still wet, I'm just going to set my stone into the center. And then I'm going to let that set up for a little bit. And then I'll be back for the next part of the nail art. Okay, so I am back, and my stone has set pretty well there. So I am ready to move on to my next step. What I'm going to do here is take some gold micro beads, and I'm actually going to kind of create a frame around my stone there, just so that it looks a little bit more set. And in order to do that, I'm going to use a little bit of clear polish. I'm using Clear by e.l.f. for this. Alright, so to start here, what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of my clear polish, and if you see I've tried to get my brush as flat as I can on the side of the bottle. And I'm just going to touch that along the side of my stone. And now I'm going to take an orange stick and very gently tap those in around the edges of excuse me, around the edges of my stone. I'm working pretty slowly. I'm just putting in 2 or 3 at a time. And each time I set one in, making sure that it lines up with the rest of them. Okay, I think I've run out of wet polish there. Now, because the stone doesn't curve along the natural line of my nail, they're kind of sliding up underneath. So I think what's going to wind up happening is I'll actually need to come back in and do a second row of them. But we'll get to that bridge when we come to it, or cross it when we come to it, one or the other. Those old-time idioms get to you guys too? Do you ever cross your words up? Oh, I do it all the time. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and just kind of repeat those steps. I'm going to go around again with a second row that should take care of some of this problem that we've got going on in here. And now to finish it off, I am going to seal everything in under a coat of HK Girl. And that kind of locks everything in. And make sure that I'm not going to lose any of those beads or that stone.